everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and in today's video I'm going to be giving you book recommendations based on the only one bed trope. So welcome back to my channel if you're not new here, if you've been watching a while, and welcome if you are new here. So this is a brand new series that I'm launching called Romance Rex. And this series really seeks to take the best love tropes of the romance genre and to give you guys my recommendations per trope, because if you're like me, you are a sucker for a trope, and I bet you all have your favourite tropes. I know I do. So I'm going to be discussing and giving recommendations based on my favourite tropes. So do let me know down in the comments, what are your favourite tropes? What would you like me to give recommendations on? I cannot wait to hear your opinions. So to those of you who may not know or are not familiar with the only one bed trope, this is where our love interest and our main character basically have to share a bed, whether that's for warmth, maybe there's just only one bed in the inn. One has to just bunk up with the other. And of course, this leads to a lot of sexual tension. It leads to a lot of desire and awkwardness. And basically, these are key in a romance novel. These are like the main ingredients that we love in a romance novel. So the only one bed trope to me really is a key tool to speed up the tension between the main character and the love interest. And I think when done well, that is a key thing here, when done well, it can have incredible results and just be so fun. So it's one of my all-time favorites, and I have lots of recommendations here that feature that trope and are just excellent examples of how this is done. So before we get on with the video, please do make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future videos in this series. I've got a lot more recommendations coming up, like enemies to lovers, like marriage of convenience or arranged marriage. I've got it all. So stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe for those. So let's just get on with the video, shall we? Because I've got a lot of books to talk about. Now, I'm going to get this book out of the way first because I feel like I mention it a lot on my channel, but honestly, this delivered in terms of the only one bed trope and also just the romance in general. I was really, really impressed and I was obsessed with, I'm not gonna lie. So it is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Maharin. So this is a fantasy romance book set in a kind of like French inspired medieval world where witches exist. They are hunted down by the church. So our main character Lou is of course a witch, and she is forced to marry a witch hunter called Reed. And he does not know that she is a witch because obviously he hates witches. His entire livelihood is hunting them down and killing them. So that really causes this like tension where they're kind of falling for each other, but of course he doesn't know who she is. And in the course of them falling for each other, bear in mind from the get-go, they are not friends. They really hate each other, even without Reed knowing that Lou is a witch. He hates her, he thinks she's absolutely obnoxious and awful. And of course they are forced to share a bed because she ends up having to live with him as his wife. Now, you can guess where this goes, but it definitely speeds up the tension. There's also a lot of hilarious scenes in this where there's only like one bed, where it's kind of like he just doesn't want to touch her, and then, you know, the cuddling ensues overnight, like lots of that goodness. So if you are a fan of this trope, and you're also a fan of kind of like an arranged or forced marriage scenario, and you love a fantasy book, then this book is perfect for you. It is part of a series, and the other two books are good, but I think like all the fun is really in this first book for me. So I really would recommend you reading this and let me know what you think. The second book that does the only one bed trope really well and is very, very popular on BookTube and BookTok is of course The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. So this is quite an iconic scene, and it is a kind of only one bed trope that's done really, really well within this romance novel. So this is based on our main character who is doing a PhD, I believe, in this kind of like university, and she enters a kind of fake dating, fake relationship situation with this guy called Adam Carlson, who is a professor. He is like very well thought of in this institution, and he is also a moody, grumpy person, like grumpy sunshine at its finest. Like he just is so grumpy, and you know, of course they end up falling for each other, but they have to share a bed when they accidentally kind of book one room during this conference, and they have to share a bed during this conference. And of course they're still trying to do the whole fake dating thing, so they need to keep up appearances, they need to make people believe they're in a relationship, so of course they share a bed and share a room. And it's one of my favorite examples of this trope because it just like brings on the tension to the max. Like, it is so perfect and really is a catalyst for their relationship basically becoming real. So I really would recommend this book if you want something sweet but also quite quirky. The spice levels are great. It's just really fun. Like, I think you will enjoy this if you're after something a bit different. So the next recommendation I really want to give is The Wallflower Wager by Tessa Dare. So this is absolutely adorable, and Tessa Dare in general is a really good recommendation if you want to see the only one bed trope in action, or just any tropes in action really, because Tessa Dare really puts her all into her novels and they really do deliver. Like, if you're a fan of a trope, you'll see them all over Tessa Dare's novels. But in particular, The Wallflower Wager is part of the Girl Meets Duke series, and I think it's book 3 or book 2, I can't remember which one. But basically it features a main character who is so like pure and innocent and lovely, like basically Hufflepuff vibes. Like, she is, you know, very innocent, she loves animals, like she's very caring. And then her love interest is this like Duke of Ruin, he's kind of nicknamed. He is like very selfish, he's like very kind of, you know, a bit of an asshole really. He is not a nice person. And of course they fall for each other because like she is just seeing that he has moved into this estate and he's like giving away all the animals that were part of that estate, and she's like, hell no, I need to save these animals. So she kind of forces herself like into his world to basically care for these animals. And along the way there is the use of the only one bed trope. And this book, guys, just had everything. Like, I think it's the fact that it's the combination of a very kind of like cheery, happy, wholesome like woman who is at the heart of this book, who is just so pure and good, and then compared with the love interest who is like a bit of a bad boy. And I think when that combination and the only one bed trope is used, it's like fireworks, incredible. So I'm not going to spoil what happens, but I really would recommend this book. All of Tessa Dare's books, please read them. Like, she's the queen of romance to me, and her books always deliver. The next recommendation I have is A Deal with the Elf King by Alyssa Cover. So this is book 1 of the Married to Magic series. You'll have heard me talk about this a lot in the past because it is one of my like top fantasy romance recommendations. Like, this book is great, and if you've never read fantasy romance before, I'd really recommend it. I think you should start with this book and this series. So obviously the concept of the Married to Magic series is it's all about arranged marriages or forced marriages where our main characters have to marry these kind of mythical beings, I guess. So the first book is about the Elf King. The second book is about the Fae Prince. The third book is about the Vampire King or something, the Vampire Lord. And then the fourth book in the series is going to be like the Siren Duke. So they're all kind of like taking traditional romance traditions and upending them, putting them on their head, giving them kind of a fantasy twist, which I love. But basically, because of the nature of this book series, the fact that they are forced to marry these people, there is, of course, many and only one bed trope. And I think you will really, really love this series if you like this trope, because it is just, yeah, there's lots of references, and A Deal with the Elf King does it really, really well. Like, oh, I just love it so much. Like, it's just this perfect trope in action in this series as well. So I really would recommend that book. The next book is another fantasy romance, absolute favorite of mine. And if you've never read this book, you will not regret this. This will honestly, like, I adore this series. It is, of course, The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. This is book 1 in the Bridge Kingdom series, and this book is so close to my heart because I didn't expect to love it that much. Basically, this is about a princess called Lara who has grown up basically hating the king of Ithacana. So it's a rival nation. Her entire life she's been trained to kill him. So her father is this very like evil, kind of very manipulative king, and he has always hated Ithacana because they hold this bridge. And this bridge is like the center of commerce. Like, It is kind of an important trade route and Ithaca hold it, and he wants that bridge for himself. So the plan is Lara goes and basically like marries this king, and her goal is to bring him down, to give her father all the secrets of the kingdom, ultimately to bring down Ithaca and to take the bridge for themselves. But of course, along the way, romance ensues. I mean, how could it not with a kind of forced arranged marriage situation like this? And of course, the only one bed trope is indeed in use. And the scenes in this book, guys, the tension, the burning tension, incredible. I cannot recommend this book enough. I think, like, if you're a fan of this trope, as I've said before with the other recommendations, please read this book because you will not regret it. Like, the scenes are perfect. The scenes are perfect. I'm not going to give it away, but like, trust me on this, you will enjoy this. And something a bit different. So the only one bed trope, of course, is mainly used in like traditional romances, Regency romances, fantasy romance, whatever it is. But I wanted to recommend kind of a Greek mythology retelling / historical novel. This is, of course, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So this is the story of Achilles and Patroclus, who very kind of famously was said to have a relationship, like they were lovers, according to the Greek myth. And this is their story. And it is so beautiful, it's so heart-wrenching, so brilliantly written, that you will just fall in love with this couple. And not only that, but there is many a reference of the only one bed trope, because Patroclus and Achilles are kind of like bound together. So there's a lot of like very innocent sharing a tent, sharing a bed for warmth. If you like all of those kind of cozy vibes, like, and that kind of budding romance that comes from like close proximity, then you will really enjoy The Song of Achilles. The only one bed trope's done so well. And you really see them form this kind of friendship that then leads to something more. And I just absolutely adored that about this book. So I really think you will enjoy this. It is a great use of that trope. If you haven't read this yet, please do. And the final book of this recommendations video is another fantasy romance book, because I am a sucker for that subgenre. Like, I love fantasy romance so much, as you guys all know. This is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. So this book is a really beautiful book. It is a YA fantasy romance book, and it kind of features a journey. So they are journeying towards something. And of course, where there's a journey, there is a need to sleep in the wild. There is a need to camp out. There is the elements involved. There is cold weather, and you know where this is leading. The only one bed trope, of course. So this has a really unusual premise where it's set in a world where obviously there's fae. I mean, there has to be if I enjoyed a book, to be honest. There is fae in this world, and basically our main character Isabel is an artist, and she can paint the most incredible portraits of people. And she paints a picture of a autumn prince called Rook. Now, the thing about the fae is they can't create anything. Anything they create kind of crumbles to dust. Like, they are unable to be creative and produce works of, you know, creativity. So when she paints his portrait, he sees something that she captured that he really doesn't like. It is kind of a weakness, it's an emotion, it's a depth, and he freaks out and he spirits her away to the autumn court or the fairylands to stand trial for this, essentially. But as they get into the court and into the fairylands, they realise something's wrong. Like, there's a lot of things that keep happening to them, a lot of very bad things that keep cropping up that kind of hints at something darker going on in the fairylands. And of course, as I said, there is a journey. They are trying to get to the autumn court for her to stand trial. And along the way, emotions fly. There is obviously this budding love. So I absolutely adore this. I really love a journey story. Like, I think journey plus only one bed trope is like a given. It is a natural thing that will happen. And I adore that. I'm a big fan. So what can I say? Please do read this if you haven't yet. I find Margaret Rogerson's books really kind of poetic, like they're beautifully written, and I think An Enchantment of Ravens is definitely a really well written book, so I would recommend it. Do check it out. So guys, that is it for today's video. Those were my only one bed trope recommendations. Leave any below in the comments that you would recommend, because obviously I've not captured everything here. We would be here all day. But I really want to know your top recommendations for this trope, and maybe I'll read them. Maybe I'll do a little reading vlog. That should be fun. And keep your eyes peeled for video 2 in this series, which may be addressing another very popular trope and another favorite trope of mine. So please do keep watching. Make sure you have notifications on, that way you will never miss a video. Follow me on social media at BookBelleReads, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You know where I am. And thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye.